In this video, I will talk about parameters initialization. I have mentioned two different topics in this video, that is parameters, and the second one will be initialization. We already know what are parameters. We have already covered objects, functions, methods. Methods are nothing but functions inside class are called methods, and functions are nothing but just a normal Python function, and it should be outside of class. Then we call it function, just a nomenclature of it. So if we talk about parameters, parameters in Python refers to variables that are defined in a function or method. So all the variables that are mentioned inside a parameter are called as, inside this bracket, if this is a function and these are brackets of function, and everything mentioned inside this one are called as parameters. Okay, these are called as arguments. So arguments of the functions are nothing but parameters. They act as placeholder for values that are passed to the function during its invocation. We already know functions, so I will just recap it. I'm not going to explain it in very much depth. Understanding parameters is fundamental for creating reusable and flexible code. So we have created a lot of functions like addition, where we pass value 1, value 2. So value 1 and value 2 will refer to arguments or parameters. Okay, if I talk about how many parameters are there in this calculate BMI, we will say we have two parameters. What are those parameters? Weights and height. So parameters and argument are interchangeable words in programming. Okay, if someone asks you parameters, just mention weight and height. If someone asks you arguments, just mention weight and height as well. Both are same thing. So if we talk about calculate BMI, this is a function which accepts two arguments, weight and height. And this weight and height are local variables to this function. I have already covered this topic before in the encapsulation part, right? So these are local to the function because these are parameters. Parameter variables are local to the function. So only weight and height is accessible inside the function, not outside the function. Okay. So this is the closed function. What are we doing? We are calling the function. We are passing value 70 and 1.75. So 70 will go to weight. 1.75 will go to height. It will do the calculation weight divided by height square. This is called is power, right? Height by height power of 2. This will do some calculation and will return the value. Return the value from where? From this function. So we are calling this function here, passing the value. So it will give us the calculation and store into BMI. So what are we doing? We are just printing the value of BMI. This is nothing but parameters, your arguments. Understand? These are parameters, nothing but argument. So we will get this value. So let me connect this one. And let's run this one by one. We all know what is this. These are different variables. And in this one, we are just passing John Doe and this one. Okay. Don't worry about this one. If you don't understand it, this is called slicing. Okay. We have not covered slicing of list and string in this module, but you can always look up on the internet at what is slicing. Okay. String slicing, list slicing. So let me run it, because there is a lot to cover and we are not covering all the Python because Python is very big. We're just covering the Python so that we can understand the AI coding. Okay. I'm just running this one, name John Doe. So it is this function generate patient ID. This is generating this ID. Okay. We are passing John Doe and maybe date of birth or something. Yeah, this is date of birth. And we are just creating a unique ID from John Doe. It's up to you what logic you want. Second is medication dosage. We are passing drug name, drug amount and frequency. We are passing aspirin, dosage amount as 250, frequency as 3, and we are just printing it. We are not doing any calculation. So we are just printing maybe on customer SMS or maybe on a screen that take 250 milligram of aspirin 3 times a day. And maybe this is stored in our database. Okay. Because everything you see on your phone or website is something like printing. It does not have it is getting value like this internally, and it is giving you output like this. Okay, this is how everything works on computer side. Heart rate zone, same thing. Two variables are there. Two variables inside a functions are called parameters or arguments. It is nothing but variables. Variables, parameters, arguments are same, but we call parameters and arguments when we are talking about function, classes. Okay. So this is different one. Everything is just an example of it. You can take a look at it later. Initialization. Let me give you an example so that we can cover this topic fast. We already know what is initialization. When I talk about, let me mention initialization. When we talk about a equals to 3, what I'm doing, I'm assigning value of 3 to a. So a is initialized. This is called initialization. See, I'm changing some terminology here. I'm mentioning comments also. So you all will get familiar with the comments. This is called initialization. Okay. If I just, so this is initialization of variable. Now, if I talk about class, if I want to add class add, so first word should be capital, and I'm making def underscore underscore init underscore underscore, then I'm passing self, and I'm passing few arguments like a, b, anything I want to initialize, right? So I will write self dot a equals to a, self dot b equals to b, then it is done. Now how to initialize it? I should mention first I need to create class, and I'm passing 2 comma 3. This is initialization, and I'm storing value into object. This is how we do it, right? This is a different line and this is a different line. So what I'm doing, while initializing the class, I'm passing two values. And what is the first function that runs in the class? Init. So a will go here, b will go here. Self.a means, again from the encapsulation class, this will be accessible throughout the class, right? This will be accessible throughout the class. So this is public for class add. If you don't recall it, just watch that encapsulation video again and come back to this class. So 2 comma 3. So now self.a, self.b will have value of 2 comma 3. This is called initialization inside class. So during the class, during the creation of class, we are initializing the variables inside add class. Okay. So obj will have, now if I write obj ob1 dot a, it will give you 2. If I write ob1 dot b, it will give you 3. Okay. So this is called initialization inside class. So let's see this example. The same thing. Let's talk about definition. Initialization involves setting the initial values of the variable. Now you may be asking that what is the need of initialization also, right? When your phone get restarted, when your phone is in power off and you restart it, does your phone always ask the same thing, right? What is your name? What is your phone number? Do the setting? No, right? It has already all those values set it in the memory. So it is not like a brand new phone every time. Only one time it does all those initialization, that where is your phone, where is your email, what is your Gmail ID, what is your YouTube ID. It does all those things only one time, and it saves into memory, and it never asks you again. So that is like your initialization of your phone. The same thing we do with class and other things, right? We initialize it, then we change it, we use it, but it never asks for it again until and unless we format it or we update it, right? So initialization is the same thing. That's why this init function is there. Just mention init function like a restart. Okay, like a power off restart, where you have to initialize the value for the first time so that you can use it later. Okay, so whatever things you want to initialize while creating the object, mentioned in init function. Okay, that is only the things which should happen only the first time. Initialization involves setting the initial values of variable. See, initial values of variable. In Python, it is often done during creation of objects, right? We are creating object here, and this will be the object. Or before variables in the program, like this one, right? A equals to 3. This is also initialization. Proper initialization ensures that variables start with meaningful and appropriate values. Okay. Same thing. This is example of class patient. In this class, we have a function in it, and we want to initialize name, name, age, gender, blood type, etc. So patient, I'm passing patient, and we are creating object of patient class. We are passing Alice, 25 and female. So we are passing three values. We are initializing these three values, and it will come under name, age, and gender. We are not passing blood type. Okay, I will talk about this later. What is this variable? And this is new patient. So what I'm just printing now, new patient, and this is internal Python function. When you write this, it will give you everything in a dictionary format. We know what is dictionary, right? We have talked about different data types. So when you write an object with underscore dict, it will give you all the variables in a dictionary format. Okay, this is again internal function. You have not created it, but Python internally creates this function. Python internally handles it. So if you want to see all variables, just mention underscore dict, and you will get all the variables in this good looking manner. Okay, so we have understood initialization. So now let's understand different initialization. So in Python, now let's suppose I'm creating a function called add a comma b. We are not focusing on anything later. Okay, we are only talking about parameters here. So a and b are called parameters. Okay, these are parameters. Now see this example. Def add a equals to 0, b equals to 1. Now a equals to 0 and b equals to 1 are called default parameters. Okay, so it means, now suppose for this addition, let me write it as green and this one as blue. Okay, so for green, if I'm passing add of 2 comma 3, then only a will have value of 2, b will have value of 3. Only when I'm writing add of 2 comma 3, then it will go inside the function and it will do the calculation 1 2 3 4. Suppose there are different steps, right? So it will do all those calculation only when I'm passing 2 comma 3. Now in this example, if I only write add, it will still do the calculation because it already has default values. These are called default values. So suppose this is the addition, this will give me an output of 5. This will give me an output of 5, right? This will be the output. In this one, for this example, this will give me output of 1. That is 0 plus 1, it will give us 1. The advantage of this is I can also give value of 2 comma 3. When I give 2 comma 3, then a will get a new value. The old value is 0, that is default. When I pass value of 2, then it will remove this 0 and point out to 2 now. This will be 2, this will be 3. So now the value will be 5. So this is the advantage of default parameters. Okay. In the polymorphism, we have talked about it. We saw that this value was already present. Even if we don't give it, it adds it. How it adds it? Because it already has a default. If you don't give something, we are mentioning that if user does not provide it, just take this default value. So what is the default value? 0 and 1. if user is not giving any value to the function, just calculate from what values coder has mentioned before, like 1, not 2 comma 3, that is 5. How it is 5? User is giving new value, so override it. We have already understood what is the meaning of override, right? Changing its property. Now changing new thing, just override this value. Now a will belongs to 2, 2 will belongs to a, 3 will belongs to b. It will do the calculation, same thing. Okay, so in this example we have what we are doing. Are we passing blood type here? No. What is the default blood type? O plus. So if user does not provide any blood type, just mention directly O plus. Okay, so now let's create a different one. Now I'm creating a new patient named XYZ. Patient is 35. Patient is female, and I'm passing blood type as A positive. A positive. But new patient may be mentioned 2. So we also have to mention new patient 2 of this function. So it will give us all the variables of the class patient of this object. This is a different object, right? This is just a blueprint. This will create a different memory. This will create a different memory. We are storing into new one. Okay, let's see this. So now we will get two patient data because we are printing 2 times. Name is Alice, age 25, gender female, blood type is O plus, that is a default. We didn't pass anything, right? So it took the by default which we have mentioned. Okay, by default should be mentioned here. Okay. Now the second thing is new patient, name XYZ, age 35, gender female, blood type is A positive, because we have passed values. We are not using by default value, we are overriding blood type. So we will, instead of O plus, we will have A plus because we are mentioning it. Understand? So this is how we use initialization. This is, so in this, I think in lot of the examples I've also mentioned it like that. These are different examples, you can take a look. If it is more complex, no need to worry about it, but you can take a look on this example. Okay, everything's remains same. In this function you can see I'm generating patient ID. Patient ID is from different one. I'm using another function here. Okay, I think we have seen patient ID before. Yeah, generate patient ID. So we are using this function inside another function. You can use it. Okay, just like class, you can use another function. We use class because it gives you a single blueprint that everyone should follow. We can use function inside function, class inside function, but not class inside class. Okay, class can inherit class, but class cannot create a new class inside, that is nested class. Okay, oh, let me put it into, you can create, I think I like green and red more. You can create class and can create multiple functions inside it, but you cannot create another class inside class. Okay, you cannot create another class inside class. Next thing is, if you want to create another class, no need to create, just inherit class, right? Maybe class name is A, then create function, okay, function inside class, and function inside class is called methods. You can create functions inside function. You can create function and use class inside it. Maybe use objects, not class. You can use objects inside class, inside function. You can use variables inside function, variable. You can use variables inside class, right? You can use function inside class, different function. You can use methods inside class. Methods and function are different, right? Let me write this as methods. Methods and function. You can use methods and function also. Function are things outside of class, methods outside of class are functions. So you can use this kind of combinations. If you practice it, you will know that, okay, I can use it. Okay. So I'm using a function and this function is already implemented above. So we are just passing it. So it will give us ID, right? We remember that it is giving ID. Then this is random. I will talk about this in the next lecture, but this is an example of parameters and initialization. Here we are using parameters. We are using parameters. Here we are initializing it to a different value, def init. So in this class, we have talked about parameters, initialization, default parameters. Now the polymorphism class makes more sense because it already had a value. We are just passing it. If we don't pass it, it takes the by default, which was 0 in our previous class. In this class, the by default one is O positive. Okay. So in this class, we have covered parameters and initialization, default parameters and class initialization as well. Okay. This which we already know. So thank you for watching this video.